Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome to yet another Tea Leaves Book Club live discussion, in which this time we will be talking about none other than Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Yes, which I believe we picked before all the hype, and now suddenly everyone's talking about this book.
So right, we're right at the beginning. I feel like it was just like right before it got huge, and yeah, it's very popular on like TikTok and the likes. I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's fun. And I'm excited to hear everyone's thoughts of these girls, of course, and everyone watching in the chat. We would love to know what you thought about it. So yes, before we go into that, shall we discuss a bit of our current reads? If you'd like to share, girls, are you reading anything? Are you not reading anything? Shall we start with Sara and go around?
All right. So I am currently reading. I was hoping to finish it before the live show, but I have like, it's ridiculous. I think I have like 40 pages left or something. Okay, no, more like 50. But I'm reading The Lies of La Clamora by Scott Lynch. I have been reading it for a while. And Mary, I have your bookmark in it.
You do? Oh, that's so sweet.
You did it. I was just like, this is the perfect bookmark choice for this book. But yeah, this is a fantasy, like a heist fantasy, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yes. Oh my God.
I know you told me that you didn't think I was going to enjoy it, and we can talk about that later because I'm very curious why you thought I wouldn't like it. But anyway, yeah, this is super fun. And I'm very intrigued to like keep on going with the series because I think there are like 3 or 4 books or something.
Yeah, I think it's 3 books, and he's planning to release the 4th one eventually.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, I'm like getting attached to the characters, and I'm interested to see where it's going to go. And I'm like in the end, like truly at the end of the book, and like so many things are happening. So I'm just like, I'm gonna finish it this afternoon. And then the next book that I want to pick up is Hooky, Volume 3 by Miriam Bonastur. I don't know where they're from, so I'm saying it with like my French accent, but I have no idea. But yeah, it's a chunker. This is a graphic novel that is being published. It's very, that's a spoilery page. It's and it's like very, very stunning, and it's about those 2 twins that are witches, and we follow them on their adventures. And at the beginning of the first volume, this is the 3rd one. At the beginning of the first volume, they're like children, but now they're all grown up. So like, I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. And their friends are so pretty. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I'll be reading next.
Oh, that's fun.
That looks really fun.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun, that graphic novel. It's honestly like so cute. It's so funny, but it also has like lots of emotional moments, and the characters are so sweet. So yeah, it's a fun ride.
That's cute.
Perfect.
All right. What about you, Hilary? Are you reading anything at the moment?
I just finished a book, The Undocumented Americans by Carla Cornejo Villavicencio. And this is nonfiction. It's kind of short. It's all about the everyday experiences of Hispanic and Latinx immigrants in America who are undocumented. And it was really sad, but also you get these like everyday moments that I feel like you don't really see when you think of like, I don't know, people talking about the immigrant experience. They think about like the big political aspects of it, but this is like more of the life. And it was really moving, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was sad, but it was good.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those books that's hard to read, but also interesting, and you like it and hate it at the same time. It's like
yeah, exactly. It was so frustrating to read through it, but important to read, like you said.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't think I've heard of that one before, but I'm definitely interested now.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Amazing. So many good reads lately.
What about you, Mary?
Yeah, I'm actually not reading anything at the moment because I finished all of my current reads finally. But however, I'm planning to start this book, which is The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. This is the last book of the First Law trilogy, which is like
Okay, so it's the third one?
Yeah, it's the third one of the first
Yeah.
plot trilogy, and then there's a ton of different series inside the same world. I'm not sure about the order in which to go next, but I'm sure there are tons of reading guides out there for Joe Abercrombie. So not sure what's going to happen after this one, but I am really enjoying the series. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone because it's kind of gruesome, you know, a little heavy. The characters are not exactly nice people, but it has been a fun ride. I'm enjoying it. So this will be one of my next reads for sure. So yes.
I love that
Yeah.
cover. It's so interesting.
I know. Look at that.
Yeah.
And they actually have all the covers here. Yeah, they kind of match with each other, so that's
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
You can see that.
Oh, that's cool. Lots
Yeah.
of flattering.
I know. It's one of those cases where if you own all of the books by this author, they will all kind of match, like the spines and everything.
Oh,
so that's fun.
cool.
Yeah.
That's so satisfying when that happens.
I know. I feel like it's the same with Sanderson and Robin Hobb, so that's fun. Yeah. All right, everyone. Feel free to let us know what you're reading as well.
Yes.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for being here. I'm not sure, but but he did.
Actually, no, I'm joking. I think
Exactly.
are you the one who proposed that one, or was it you, Mary? I don't.
I think it was you. I'm terrible with it. Was either you or Hilary. I don't know. It's never me because you're much better at finding new releases than I am. So
I think it was me.
Okay,
and
yeah,
it was
exactly.
because I did start to see it make the rounds on TikTok. So
Okay, 'cause
fun.
you're the TikTok person in this
That's great.
trio.
We have a
'Cause,
lot of
like, I'm not on
recommendations.
TikTok, and yeah, that's true.
but yeah, it's everywhere now, and like all these special editions are coming out, and
Yes.
like all this fan art that I'm seeing everywhere, and
I know.
wild.
Yeah, like Hannah in the comment is saying, I read this when I received it in the Fairy Loot box, and I
Yes.
loved it.
Nice.
I know, yeah, I think that there are lots of like All Crate also did an edition. Like there are lots of very pretty special editions.
Yes. All the covers are beautiful. The ones I've seen, very pretty. Yeah.
Rebecca Ross in general, her book covers, like I don't know who does her book covers, like, but they're all incredible. I have
They
to say,
are.
they're all
Yeah.
so stunning.
I've noticed that. All right. So shall we talk a bit about the synopsis and some content warnings, perhaps? I don't think there are a lot of them, but we do always like to start with that before our thoughts as well, just so people, you know, are kind of aware of what happens. I'm usually terrible with synopsis. So would any of you like to share a small one? Otherwise, I can try, but I'm terrible. So
I can do it if you want.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, Divine Rivals. I always want to say Divine Royals, but it's not. It's not the right title. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross is a YA novel about these two main characters. I don't remember their names. I read this book like 3 weeks ago at this point.
Iris and Roman.
Iris and Ronan. Ronan? You said?
Roman.
Roman, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Iris and Roman.
Yes.
Okay. And they are basically like those two up-and-coming journalists who work at this paper, and they are fighting for the like job of war correspondence. And at the beginning of the book, our main character is mainly like Iris. But yeah, there's a war going on between these two gods in this world. It's kind of like, I want to say it's kind of like historical fantasy. So it's kind of similar to our worlds, but there are like basically those two gods who are fighting a war with one another. And so people are being sent off to the front and stuff like that. So yeah, they're basically in a rivalry for that war correspondent post. And that's where the story begins. And then it kind of like develops from there, and they end up going to war. So yeah, it was really yeah, it was good. I don't know why I'm saying my opinion. That's only the synopsis. Anyways, that's what the book is about. Wow, I'm scatterbrained today. So sorry.
No, that's perfect. I feel like also the less you know, the better it is. So that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
When it comes to content warnings, though, let's just get to that very quickly. I mean, I guess the most obvious one would be there are mentions of war, and while I think this book is not too explicit, like usually it's just kind of fade to black, there are a few more violent scenes that might be a bit triggering.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Also, if you don't like body horror, like it's not
Yeah.
necessarily body horror, but like certain wounds and stuff are described. And it's not, it's not in great details, but it did make me a little bit queasy sometimes. So
yeah, it is mentioned. So yeah, also loss of a loved one as well, and grief, everything that comes with that. Yeah. And what else do we have?
I think that's pretty much it for me, from what I remember.
Yeah, at least the ones that stand out, right? There might be a few others. If anyone in the chat wants to jump in, please let you know, you're free. But yeah, I think those are the most obvious ones, I would say. I'm not sure. Yeah, anything that comes with that, a little bit of violence as well, like mentions of blood and, you know, past trauma and everything. But I believe that's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So with that said, shall we move on to some general thoughts? So if you haven't read the book at this point, don't worry, because we're going full spoiler-free at this part, and also share our ratings. So once again, shall we just go round?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so as I kind of already said a little bit, I like this book. I really, really enjoyed it. And I actually think that I loved it more than I thought I would when we decided to read it, because I thought like, oh, you know, like it's a YA fantasy. I don't read much of those anymore, so it's probably just going to be like a fun, you know, just a fun book. But I actually ended up really, really enjoying it, and I keep on thinking about it, mainly because, like we've talked about, it's everywhere. Like you can't escape it. This book is literally on everybody's like Instagram page, I'm sure, and I keep on seeing beautiful fan art as well. But yeah, and I just really, really loved it. I love the two main characters. I love their little rivalry. I love the context and also the kind of like historical inspired setting that we had. I thought that was super interesting. I also really love the typewriters. Oh my god, I did not even mention the typewriters in the synopsis. I love that whole thing, like the magical typewriters, where they basically, like, if you haven't read the book, this is not a spoiler, it's in the synopsis, but I just forgot to say it. But they basically, like, our main character, Iris, starts writing letters to her brother who's at the front, and her letters magically get sent to her rival from work, so the other main character. So yeah, I love that whole setup as well. I love the letter aspect of it. I just really, really love that they were, you know, talking about their feelings and stuff like that, to one another. I'm always like a little bit worried about the, like, you know, like when one person knows who the other is, but the other one doesn't. That always worries me a little bit, because I don't always love the way that it's handled, but I think that it was handled pretty well in that book. So yeah, I really loved it. I found it emotional and well written and just very compelling overall. Like I just really wanted to like keep on reading the book, and it kept on reminding me why I love historical fiction and why I need to read more historical fiction. Because yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a historical fiction fantasy, because you don't see lots of magic in this first book, which might be disappointing to some people, but I didn't really mind. I assume that like because it's a magical conflict, I assume we're gonna get into more details about that in the sequel. So yeah, very intrigued to read the next one. I think it comes out in November, and I will definitely be at least getting it from the library, if not buying a copy for myself, because I just really liked it. So yeah. Overall, I think I would give it like 4 stars. Like it's nothing out of the ordinary, like it's nothing I've never seen before or like absolutely mind-boggling, but I just really enjoyed it. So yeah.
Yay, that's exciting.
I really liked it too. I loved how the main characters were developed. I thought that one of my favorite aspects was how well, actually I should probably save that for spoilers, but like the whole grief plot line, that was really interesting to me and very sad, but I really liked how that was included in the story. I could say more later. I also was reminded with this book how interesting and compelling historical fiction can be, because it's something that I have like a mixed relationship with. Like sometimes I really, really enjoy it, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm just not in the mood. So this one was like kind of reeling me back into it. I think that the magical aspects, something about them didn't really click for me. Like I feel like it wasn't super explored in this book, but maybe like Sara said, like it will be more prevalent in the next one. So I think that also toward the end of the book, it started to like become more developed. So that like will lead the way into the sequel. But yeah, overall, I thought that it was really great. I loved the dynamic that was developing all throughout for the two main characters, for Iris and Roman. I really wanted them to get together the whole time. I was definitely like rooting for them. And yeah, I think that this one is like high 3, low 4 stars for me.
That's good. Yeah.
Yay! That's great.
Amazing. Okay, I think we should celebrate probably because I think we are all on the same page for this one because I also liked it very much. Woo! Round of applause.
Oh, well done.
I know, right? This hasn't happened in a while for anyone who might not be aware. Anyway, for once, I like the romance, so yay me.
I'm so excited because you have to read the other Rebecca Ross books. Then
I know. I really want to.
Anyways, keep on going now.
Yeah, I basically agree with everything you girls said. I like the romance, but I do agree with Sara in that I don't know if you can call it a trope, but when the love interest or one of them has more information than the other, that could probably be easily shared. Like, I get it from a plot perspective, maybe this needed to happen, but I also think there could be other ways to solve this situation. But anyway, I didn't love that, and because of that, I wasn't completely sold on Roman first, because I thought maybe you could have had another, perspective on this whole thing. But anyway, we'll get there. I also think the book is very well paced. I never thought it was too slow or too quick. Like, I felt like it had the right pace for the story it was trying to tell, especially since it does have a sequel. Didn't love the epilogue. I will tell you why in a second. It's kind of spoilery, but I didn't really love it. I'm still excited for it. Obviously, I will read the sequel for sure, and I'm very happy we will get it soon-ish. You said November, right, Sara? November, December.
Rose is a machine. She comes out with those books like so fast. I don't understand. Anyways.
Yeah, so that's good. And I also agree with Hilary in which I loved how grief was handled in this book, because I feel like it's such a sensitive topic, and obviously people have tons of different reactions, when they experience something like this, and all of them are valid. And I really love the discussions that this book tried to include here. So that was beautiful to read as well, and a little sad. This book got to me a few times because it felt very genuine to me, the way it was talked about. So that was beautiful. I also love the side characters, though right now I'm not sure I can trust everyone because of a specific thing that happened towards the ending. But so far, I like all of them. So we'll see if that changes. But yes, it was a very pleasant surprise. I didn't have any expectations for the book because I haven't heard that much about it. But then everyone suddenly started to love it. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll see what this is about after all. So I'm very pleasantly surprised. And it would be a 4 stars for me as well. So that's great. Yay! Yay!
Oh my God, I'm so glad.
I know, me too.
I'm so happy.
Yes, and I can see people loved it as well. So we have 4.5 stars. That's great. 5-star read. 5-star read. That's amazing. Very Little is also releasing the sequel.
Yeah,
there you go.
The matching edition, which is amazing. I love they're doing that more and more with series. Like usually you would only get the first book, but now they're doing they're also releasing the sequel in the same kind of edition and format, which is so cool.
That is cool and very good for us bookworms who love having those matching covers.
Love mini editions and yes, matching covers. You're so right.
Yes, they are beautiful. Oh my gosh. So yes, those are basically our thoughts, spoiler-free, unless any of you girls or anyone in the chat would like to add anything else before we jump into spoilers. Is there anything else you would like to discuss?
I just say that one part of the romance that I didn't like as much is the way that it got more fast-paced towards the end. But other than that, like honestly, this book was great. I have nothing else to say. So yeah.
I think the reason why I am more like, I'm not sure if it's like a full 4 stars for me, is because I disagree a little bit with Mary in that I think that the pacing was a little uneven to me, but I don't know if that's because I was just simply uninterested in some aspects that they were spending a lot of time on. Like, honestly, once Iris started really doing a lot of reporting, I kind of didn't really get invested in that, and they really focused on that for like I think a lot of the second part of the book. So it just felt like my attention was going in and out sometimes, but overall I really did love it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I can see why you would say that. There were actually a few sections where I wasn't as invested either, which has to do with the epilogue, actually.
Okay,
So we can.
All right.
But yeah, I can see that it was a bit chunky at times, perhaps. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Books about writing about writers. Yes, I thought it was a really cool concept and ended up really liking the book. Don't read review anymore, but glad I read it. Yay!
Yay. Oh, that's great. It's true. The parts about writing and the letters was definitely one of my favorite parts. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Also, hello, Julie. It's so nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Love how journalism was back in the day and the aesthetic that goes with it. Really like the journaling. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Also, the aesthetic of the like kind of like the 40s or 50s. No, more 40s. I want to say like that's how I imagined it in my head. Like, yeah, the 1940s, like with the typewriters and like the long skirts and all of that. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Wasn't interesting at all in the myth and lore. Yeah, I get that.
That's fair.
That's fair. It was also the least interesting part to me as well, I would say.
As developed as other aspects of the book, I think. And I think mainly because we're seeing it through Iris's perspective. So maybe that will be more developed in the sequel because it kind of comes with the magic system. So that's what I assumed. But I agree that like that part wasn't the most developed. So
yeah. I didn't mind that too much though, because I like it. I like that we are seeing this from the perspective of the humans fighting for the gods, you know?
Yeah.
Which to me is much more interesting to follow that because you get to see maybe how clouded their vision is depending on what they believe happened or not. And that to me is very interesting. So
yeah. And also to see the way that it affects them and not to see it from the god's perspective, who just wants to like fight or whatever. Like
yeah, exactly.
It's definitely much more interesting because they're much more affected by it. So
yeah, I agree. All right, shall we move on to spoilers? Just a fair warning, everyone, if you haven't read the book, from this point on, just be careful because we are going to spoil some things. That's all I want to say. All right, shall we go into it then?
Yes,
start with your epilogue.
Go for it. I want to know.
Okay, I don't like the fact that we are getting the perspective of one of the gods. I didn't want that. And I'm not sure if we are getting that in the sequel or if this was just like a little teasing moment for what's to come. But again, I don't like it because I like to see all of these issues and the war and the problems that it has from the perspective of the humans who are interpreting the gods' actions. I don't care about what the gods think, you know, at least so far. And I'm really scared that it would kind of influence my reading experience with the sequel. It's just because I don't find it as interesting. But that's just me, maybe. I don't know what you girls thought about that and everyone in the chat, but I was a little disappointing in that. I don't know.
Was the prologue also from the perspective of the god? Was there a prologue?
I don't remember. But if it is, we never touched on it again, and I was very happy about that.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's just the prologue and the epilogue.
Oh, no. The prologue was when Forrest went to the war, and they said goodbye to each other.
You're right. Okay. I don't know if it's going to be like such a prevalent part because like you said, we had like one chapter, so it would be a But
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to see. But I agree with you. I don't really care about that God of War or whoever it is. I don't remember.
Excellent video game, by the way. Go
Yes.
on.
Isn't he the god of? No, he's not the God of War. He's just the God of the underworld, right? Anyways,
Oh, this one?
that guy. Yeah. The
Maybe.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
fine. We don't care about him. Is what is our opinion.
I mean, I do care about them in the perspective of, you know, how they influence people's minds, but
Yeah.
that's it, you know? So I'm not sure if it takes up a big part of the next book. I'm just a little hesitant to, you know, see how that will make me feel towards the story.
Yeah.
But we'll see, I guess, you know.
I know that new perspectives are added, or like new characters, new side characters, I think. But I don't think that the one that I saw was not that, unless he's very well disguised. So I don't think that's I don't think that's him, but
Who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
honestly, the only thing that epilogue did is make me so stressed because I was like, no, Roman!
You'll be fine. Don't worry. I believe it. Yeah, I agree, Lexie. That's exactly how I felt. A bit unnecessary.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not a big deal, obviously. This is just a nitpick, but I thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, I think it was mainly for the, for the cliffhanger thing, because like we didn't know what was happening to Roman, and now we know, but we're also stressed about it. So I think
I get that.
Yeah.
Neutral on the epilogue. At least we finally got some answers or information about what was actually going on during the war. The thing is, do we actually know, though? Can we trust the narrator? I'm not sure. And that's interesting to me. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. About Forest in the war, but we never see what they're actually doing to the humans they capture. So at least we finally got an answer. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was definitely worried about Forest throughout, even if we didn't know like what was happening to him. But yeah, to see like the mind control at play, like how they like basically that god, I don't remember his name, whoever that man.
This last one, Daker. What?
I don't
This
remember.
one. I think that's it. But go on, I will look for it. But I think that's it.
I think you're right.
That god, like the way that he turns humans. Dacker?
Yeah.
Okay,
So.
great. Him. The way that he can like take.
Am I frozen or is Sara frozen?
I think Sarah's going in and out a little bit.
Humans and
I
like
think
all
so.
their minds to see like how.
Oh
no! Hello, are you back?
Hi.
Hello.
Okay,
I think it is now.
All disappeared for a hot second there. That was scary.
I was trying to figure out if it was me or any of you. I was like,
I hope it doesn't happen again. Anyways,
no, that's okay.
I'll restart it. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I'm interested to see like how the magic system works for that, like to see how he turns humans onto his side. So yeah, that was what I was saying.
Yeah, I hope we get more, like maybe we'll do a flashback or something, I don't know, to when Forest like switched sides.
Yeah, that could be great.
That. Yeah.
You're right.
And that was when Forest actually became an interesting character.
I mean, we didn't really know him, he was just missing. So like that's fair. Yeah. But we can't trust him. I don't trust him one bit.
I don't either. Yeah.
Like the second the clothes, like Roman's clothes went missing, I was just like, here we go. He's here.
And I forgot about that. Yeah.
Like I immediately knew something was amiss, and I was just like, uh-oh, like it's gonna be her brother. So yeah.
I love how I feel like every book that we read, everyone else sees things coming from a mile away, and I'm the one who's like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that this was going to happen."
I usually don't, but for whatever reason, I clocked that in so fast. I was just like, somebody stole the queen. They're gonna pretend to be Roman, and it's gonna be her brother.
Yeah.
Well, you got it. Yeah.
You were correct. Absolutely.
Maybe I've read too much YA fantasy.
Yeah, this one is YA, right? Because I've heard people calling it new adult, and I'm not sure what to say about that.
I don't know for sure. I could
Yeah.
see it going both ways.
Yeah,
To
me
me, it leaned more adult because they're like working people.
Yeah, you're
out in the
right.
world.
That's true.
Yeah, considering the age of the characters and what they're doing, yeah,
Yeah.
possibly new adult.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
for like,
possibly.
the subject matter and the way that it's handled, I would say like it can also be YA for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's in between, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And she writes both, so
She does? Okay. Yeah, that
Mhm.
makes sense. All right. Yeah. Yeah, so about Forest, I'm guessing the plot for the sequel will be that she will have to kind of be forced to choose between Roman and Forest. I guess that would be part of the plot. And then, like you all were saying, and you're absolutely right, we didn't know much about him. I guess I only cared about him because we were looking through Iris's perspective.
Iris character.
And yeah, and I think that was very well done. If we want to touch a bit on the grief aspect as well, Iris basically knows what it is like to lose someone very close to her, and all of that uncertainty about what must have happened to her brother for him not to get back to her and write to her ever. That must be so difficult on her. And I feel like the author did an amazing job portraying like her despair, and anguish and doubting herself and everything around her because she knows nothing about what's going on. And I really appreciated how it was handled because sometimes it was even a little subtle, but it was there. And the way she, sometimes tried to hide that, but you cannot really hide that when you're feeling so lost and scared. So I don't know. I thought it was a very beautiful touch that the book had. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like we get that a lot in historical fiction because it's like in the old days, if someone disappeared, you couldn't just send an email and be like, "Hey, what's up?" So like
Exactly.
that's definitely like something that I felt a lot during the book. Like you're so right, Mary. Like I felt that anxiety, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I am so glad that I live with technology because I would have died of stress. Like I could not be in that situation." Oh.
I know. I can't imagine just like continuing to send letters out into the void and hoping that like some sign will come through.
They're still alive. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our grandparents were so strong.
Yeah, for sure.
I know. That's terrifying. If they're alive, if they're even okay, I mean, it must be very stressful. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it worked. Despite us not knowing a lot about Forest at all, I was still worried because I felt Iris's pain. And I guess that's a wonderful sign when a book can do that, So I appreciate
I think that was very successful in the book. Like when she finally received that letter from like his garrison or something, and like it was the letter that if she opened, she would know like if he was alive or dead. I was just stressed.
I know.
So yeah. But I mean, the book did what it needed to do. So
exactly, and well done, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah. All right. Shall we go into maybe some of the romantic stuff? How did you feel about their relationship?
I liked it. I really love a good like workplace romance. So I enjoyed when they were like going to work together. But I think that was before they actually like became romantically involved, if I remember correctly. But I did like that rivalry tension that they were developing then. And I wish I could remember more of the details because I did read this back in August. But I think that they're like just the more you progress through the story, the more you got to see Roman being more like, I don't know, heartfelt. And that was like my main motivation for wanting them to get together. Like the softer that Roman became as a person, basically.
Yeah, he was so sweet. I've heard someone said, I think it was Peru's project, Regan from Peru's project. She talked about the fact that like Rebecca Ross writes very soft male characters. And that is definitely like something that we're kind of lacking in the fantasy genre, especially in like romantic fantasy or like romantasy or however it's called these days by the kids. No, but like, and I totally agree. Like all of the main love interests often like in fantasy are like those rough dudes or like, you know, they're mean or whatever, and it's always those kind of like enemies to lovers situation. But she does write like very, very soft male characters. And I love that Roman had a little bit of snark, which I don't condone. I love snark. But he was also like so sweet, and like his letters were so cute and so romantic. So like, yeah, I was 100% in as well. I was just like, yes, get together, be cute. I love that. We love to see it. It was great.
Yeah, I agree. They did have some good banter, which was cute and fun and sweet. And a detail that I really liked, maybe it's silly, I don't know, but when they ask each other to read a few of their letters that they wrote for one another, I think
so cute.
Yeah, that's very special because it's not the same, you know. Obviously, reading it's very romantic, but it's different when you are with someone and you get to actually say those words, especially in such, you know, a drastic situation that they were living in, obviously, because they didn't know how much time they had together, and their wedding was just like, let's get this done because tomorrow the world might end. So let's just say what we have to say. And I think that's beautiful because it's something that I feel like people often take for granted. Like, obviously with good intentions, we're just maybe a bit scared or ashamed or our feelings, and that's fine. But I thought it was a very beautiful detail, the fact that they very intentionally said what they needed to say to each other. And I really love that. It's one of my favorite aspects of the book.
Yeah, it was so sweet. Like, I would have died of embarrassment if somebody asked me to like read a love letter that I had written them to their face.
I know,
But it was so cute. It was definitely beautiful. Like the passages that they chose were so great too. Like they were really well written.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool. It was so cute.
Her passage specifically, when he talked about vulnerability as being a strong feature about ourselves, I love that so much. About it being a piece of armor that you slowly start, you know, getting down and showing to other person. It's beautiful. My little romantic heart loved it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was really cute.
Do you think they were rivals or mere colleagues who were competing with each other? Yes. Don't we all have colleagues we don't always like? That's very true. Yeah. I never thought they were, because a few people describe this as enemies to lovers, and I don't really agree with that pitch.
I wouldn't say enemies. I would say rivals to lovers.
Yeah, but they're kind of
like both competing for the same position. So
yeah,
that's
true.
That's what I think.
But
you know, it's not that serious. Like it's a job, so it's serious, but it's not like, you know, to the death or something.
Yeah, they don't hate each other or anything. It's just a little tension.
A strong word, but it still works, I think.
Yeah.
Refreshing to have soft male characters, yes, because like Sara said, usually the guys are hard and just flat out jerks. It's so nice and so sweet to not have that in this. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And the main character in A River Enchanted, which is another book by Rebecca Ross, is even softer. So like, if you love soft boys, highly recommend. He's great. And he's a bard and he plays the harp. Like, isn't that adorable? Like,
what?
Come on.
Oh,
I'm telling you, Mary, you love that book. You have to read it.
Everyone tells me that. Jesus. Okay, I need to read that. Yeah, I know. Is it adult? Young adult? I don't know.
And it's a duology, so like you can read both of them.
So is this one actually, right? We have one.
I think so.
That's perfect. Also felt like they were rivals, but there were a lot of social issues and social pressures each had, because of which they had, exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
we haven't even discussed like
That's
the
true.
entire right. Like Roman was basically being forced into marrying someone else by his
Yeah.
father.
Yeah.
She's very sad. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a good part of it. I think like the difference in between their social status
Mm-hmm. That's
was
true.
very, very interesting because like obviously Roman doesn't really have to work, but he loves, to write and stuff. So that's why he's a journalist. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
Iris literally like she has to work because she needs to help her mother and she needs to like have money for herself, obviously, because otherwise she couldn't survive. So
Yeah.
that was also very interesting. I love how she touched on that.
Mm.
So yeah, that was super great. And yeah,
That's
the
true.
whole like marrying someone else plot, I was just like, oh no, this is awkward.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was bad.
That's terrible.
Yeah, like they were for like that whole family, they were making weapons for like the enemy.
I
So
think so. Yeah.
I wonder if we're gonna get more of that as well, like the bombs stuff that they were manufacturing. So yeah.
Maybe because I feel like this book, we get both perspectives here and there, but I feel like it was mainly from Iris's point of
Yeah.
view.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if on the next book we will get more of Romans. Maybe, I don't know.
I would be okay with that.
I mean,
Yeah, me too.
considering the end and where he ends up, I hope we're gonna get his perspective because otherwise, like, I feel like
Yeah.
from his point of view, we're gonna have more information about the magic system and how the war works, like actually what's happening. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious about that balance between, the whole setting and how everything works. Plus, we need to get to a conclusion in this story. So how will that work? I'm curious. Yeah. But yeah, I did like that aspect, like you were saying, Sara, and everyone in the comments of, their different backgrounds. I feel like they were, I don't know if that's the thing, but healthy rivals, because I feel like they didn't disrespect each other. You know what I mean? Like they weren't exactly mean towards each other. Sure,
Yeah.
there was some tension and everything, because that's usually also what I don't like when people try and sell enemies to lovers, because they can be so rude and mean that I'm like, where's the love here? I don't know. I don't.
Someone who does that to you, like, yeah. Sometimes it's hard to believe. I agree.
I know.
Yeah, but like they weren't trying to sabotage each other or anything like that.
Exactly.
So I think they did respect each other ultimately.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even though Iris thought that like Roman looked down at her, but like we quickly learned that wasn't true. So like it was, it was fine. Like it wasn't anything that would have made me like dislike him. So
yeah, about that, I guess the only thing that I was kind of iffy about was when he didn't tell her that he knew there were her letters.
Yeah.
Which I know, if he did, we wouldn't have a plot. So I get that. But I don't know, it always feels strange to me when one of them has more information. It feels kind of manipulative to me. So that's an aspect that I wasn't the biggest fan of.
But I loved also how she confronted him about it.
Yeah.
And he immediately like apologized, didn't try to like have excuses or anything. And I love that it got solved quite quickly because in the end, she was falling in love with the guy who was writing the letters. And she was also falling in love with Roman. And then it ended up that he's the same person. So like, I mean, I would have had a bit more of resentment, but I'm not Iris. So like, I mean, I just thought it was handled well. And I don't remember what his reason was for not telling her because I've read that book like a little while ago. So I don't remember exactly, but I know that like when I read it, I was just like, you know what? That's fair.
He said something that I didn't really care for, which was, I was scared you wouldn't write anymore if I told you. And I was like,
okay.
That's not the best reason. Maybe he then developed a little bit, but that part I was like, that's not really a great reason for you to do that. But it's like you were saying, like obviously they talked about it and it was resolved, but I wish he did tell her because she found out. He didn't tell her.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
that's all,
He was about to. Like that's the thing too. Like
I know.
he was doing so the entire time. And like he carried her letters everywhere with him.
I know, it's very sweet.
Yeah.
go back for my bag. Like when he was like so adamant about it when he was injured, I was just like, the letters.
I know. Yeah, and I mean, he was always protecting her. Obviously, he went after her to the war and everything. So
Yeah.
I like the romance. Just to be clear, I really like it.
No, I
But but that aspect, I was just a little hesitant at first.
Yeah, it's like in the grand scheme of things, when you look at everything else that happened, it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
like he was about to tell her it's not, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. Also,
Is
the
there
side. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering, is there still a third typewriter out there? I can't remember. I thought there were 3.
Yeah, there were 3, but I think the other one is in the museum, isn't it?
That
Oh,
sounds right. I
you
don't
might be right.
remember.
I think
Yeah.
that one of them was taken to a museum, and then the other 2 friends refused to give up their own because they
Mhm.
wanted to keep
Okay.
it. If I remember properly, maybe I'm wrong, but
I think that's it. But if anyone remembers better, let us know.
yes, that-
It's been a while. Yeah. That story is so cute as well with their grandmothers.
Yeah.
I think that's like,
it was so cute. Yeah,
yeah,
it was great.
adorable.
I also love that idea of like a magical typewriter. That's really great.
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to send you typed out letters through a wardrobe door, Mary. If you ever come up with like, let me know. We
Yes,
can do
please,
that.
let's do it.
And you too, Hilary, if you want one.
Sure.
Please. Yes, all of us. What about the side characters? Did you like them? You kind of mentioned it briefly on the spoiler free, but
Mm-hmm. Also, by the way, Mary, your mug is glorious. It's so gigantic, and the
I
ears,
know.
The ears are really cute.
It's so
you have
cute.
those, that's hilarious to me.
I didn't resist.
It's as huge as your face.
That's perfect. It means more tea. That's perfect.
If you drink like 1 coffee in that, you're gonna be awake for 3 days.
Oh, I have. It's okay. I can handle my coffee. Don't worry.
Great, you're better than me. Yes, side characters.
Yes.
Love them. I personally really like them. Like her friend that she meets, like the other war correspondent. I don't remember her name, but I thought she was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And the couple, Marisol, is that it?
Right.
Marisol, and also I want to live in her B&B. It sounds great.
It does. But see, I'm scared that one of them will turn out to be a villain. I'm not sure why I think this, but I've considered it. Like, is one of you trying to sabotage the whole thing? I hope not.
Yeah.
If you're right, we can, you've seen it coming this entire time.
Have I? It's just a silly theory. I have no proof whatsoever. It's it's just me panicking and wanting everything to be okay.
See, the only one I'm really suspicious of is Forrest. The other characters I just thought were like so heartwarming and so sweet, and I just couldn't help but loving them. So I was just like, okay, you're all kind. Do not be please.
Exactly. I hope so. We have Bluetooth track. Yeah, I mean,
do
I
we?
know. Apparently, I have no idea. Thank you for letting us know, Lexie.
I know you have like keyboards that are like typewriter keyboards that you can use with your. But that's not the same. I want paper.
They're very nice, though. I love the sound.
Yeah. Magic. But yes, they are kind of like magical typewriters. You're right, because you can send an email, but it's a typewriter,
Exactly. Perfect.
That's fair.
Oh my God.
What else do we have to talk about? I feel like the hour really flew by.
I know, right? It always does.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what else we could maybe discuss. Because I feel like right now, I mean, it ended on a very big cliffhanger, obviously.
Yeah.
So do you girls have any theories on what the direction of the story might be going from here?
I don't have theories. I'm just scared.
That's fair.
I'm scared they're he's gonna brainwash Roman or something like that, and it's gonna be terrible. And like he's gonna see Iris but not remember her, and then it's gonna be pure torture.
Oh my
And
God, you think?
I'm scared because like Iris right now doesn't know where he is.
Mhm.
Obviously her brother knows because he's seen the like trace on the ground and he didn't explain it to her immediately, which
Yeah.
is suspicious. But yeah. But yeah, I'm just scared.
I feel like Iris's and Forrest's relationship is going to change in the next book.
Oh yeah,
I think that he's a little bit too far gone to,
Mhm.
I don't know, be
I agree.
admirable anymore. But
yeah, that would be terrible too, because like she spent the first book like half mourning him, half trying to find him, and then she finds him again, and then she's gonna have to like mourn the person that he used to be, because obviously he's
I
not the same
know.
person anymore. So
right.
it's gonna be sad. Yeah.
yeah.
Also,
And
the fact that he just like dragged her across a field of wheat and refused to go back to Roman was so freaking sketchy. I was just like, that's one more person, and obviously he's important to her. What are you doing? So yeah, I don't like him. I don't trust him one bit.
I hated that part. It was so frustrating. I was so mad.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Awful. Anyway, what were you about to say, Hilary?
Something that you said made me think of how when Iris came to the house, the B&B, that was like a found family moment, and I really liked that for her.
Yeah,
because she was just so like lost without her brother and her mother, and it was
she was
nice to see her like be supported by those people.
Yeah, it was very sweet. I also love the running that they did with Roman, like when they would wake up
right.
and go for a run. That was so good. Like that was such a good like bonding thing that Rebecca did. And we didn't get like that many scenes of them running, but like you understood that like every day they wake up and like they go for a run, and it's just like, oh, it's so cute. Like I could see it in my brain, like a montage. It was so sweet.
It is cute. I like that as well.
And then the hill becomes their hill, and then and then at first she's like so out of shape, honestly, right? And she like she can't beat the hill or like best the hill, and then at the end he's wounded, so he can't best the hill, like that. Oh, it's so cute. Like that whole parallel thing is really, really good. So yeah,
it's beautiful. Yeah, I agree with what you said, Hilary. I feel like in the next book, her relationship with Forrest will definitely change. I'm sure it will be an emotional mess because, like you were saying, Sara, now she needs to mourn the person that he used to be, or the person she grew up with, and that's a lot to take in. I feel like the next
looking for Roman.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the next book will be packed of a lot of different emotions. Yeah. I'm excited though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's Ruthless Vows, right? The name?
Ruthless Vows.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see when it comes out. I'm pretty sure it's this year.
I think it's this year, yeah, towards the end. It's exciting.
Let me go see. Oh, December 26th. I was wrong. It's not in November.
Oh,
about that.
Oh, Christmas. That's great. That's a Christmas gift.
Woohoo!
Yay! All right, everyone. Is there anything else you would like to talk about?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot.
Yes, it's a fun one. I'm glad we all enjoyed it.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
That's good. Well, if anyone has anything else they would like to add, of course, feel free to do so in the comments. And before we go, shall we announce our next book pick, which will be, we set this on Instagram and Discord, I think, but we will take a short break during this month, obviously, because it is already the end of September. So the next book pick will be for October and November. And it is called, I don't remember. So what's it called?
It's called How to Kill Your Employer, I think.
Oh, exactly.
I just don't remember.
Oh, murder. Right?
Murder your employer.
Murder your employer.
Wait, how to murder your employer? Just murder? Not how to?
I think it's just murder.
Oh, wait. Yes, it is. Owie. Give me a second. And it is by Rupert Holmes. Murder Your Employer: The McMaster's Guide to Homicide.
Wow.
So that's going to be fun to read in public transport, you know?
Yes, exactly. Nice little guidebook for you to learn.
Read
Doesn't
down.
raise any red flags at all.
Exactly. None of them. But anyway, yeah, we thought it could be fun to read a bit of a thriller / mystery. I'm not sure if it will be even scary or anything, or if it's just kind of a fun book. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the vibe will be. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I think it sounds funny, to be honest.
Okay, maybe it's funny. A nice,
It has
horror humor.
delightful mix of witty wordplay, breathtaking twist, and genuine intrigue. Murder Your Employer will gain you admission into a wholly original world, cocooned within the most entertaining book about well-intentioned would-be murderers you'll ever read.
Wow,
Which sounds fun.
it does sound fun. Perfect. Okay, interesting.
Like, challenge accepted. I work from home.
Me too, mostly. So I can definitely bring it to the workplace.
It would be more of a challenge for Hilary.
Yeah. Bring it to the library.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. So yes, that will be for October and November again, and we will let you know all the details on our socials, of course, Instagram, Discord, and that's it basically. And once we have a new date for the live show, we will let you know, of course. But I believe that's it for this live show in particular. So thank you, girls, so much for being here, of course. And thank everyone in the chat for joining us today. It was lovely to see your thoughts and hang out with you for a bit. And of course, we will see you again very soon, hopefully. All right.
All right.
Bye, everyone.